Hi there guys and welcome to UFC 271 predictions. 271 that is. Our last one, 270, ended in 3 out of 5, 60% win ratio, but on the actual night we did end up in profit, I believe, by just over 1,000 or something like that. If you do want a link to the Discord, which is MMA based and sport based, there will be a link in the video description. You can also check us out on Twitter. We do have a dedicated UFC MMA tip page now, which is, if I remember correctly, is at the UFC tips. So let's crack on with what we've got. I do apologise, by the way, for this video being late. Had a lot on my plate this week. Here we go. Bobby Green kicking off the main card against Nasrat Haqparast. And without going into a complete deep dive, which I probably will do during the live stream tonight if I can stay awake, because that is the plan. We're going to cover the entire event. We'll have the audio, we'll have the Discord open, and we'll just do tips on every single card, every single fight that is on the entire card, including the early prelims and the prelims. So, going into the Green and Haqparast, like I said, without a deep dive, I do prefer Bobby Green in this one. He has a wealth of experience, and I do believe that in itself should bring him out on top, and I can see him taking it to the ground, negating Haqparast's KO ability, ultimately going for a submission / points victory for this one. Let's move on to the next one, which is Alexander Hernandez versus Renato Moicano. It's basically ground game versus stand-up game, and if you don't know which is which, Moicano is the ground game, Hernandez is a stand-up game. I'm going to be siding with the underdog here because he has an exceptional takedown defense. I don't know if the UFC have actually covered his takedown defense. They only have it at 59%, but it is higher because they only cover the UFC fighting metrics. There are better sites for that, so I would advise you to go to those. I'm going with Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great Ape Hernandez, sorry, I'm getting them mixed up. But if it does happen to go onto the mat, Canero is elite here. He is not to be trifled with. I'm going with a TKO or a points victory here for Hernandez, to be quite honest with you. Shifting on to, which I believe could be a fight of the night. We've got Jared Cannonier versus Derek Brunson, and Brunson, as I've already predicted on the UFC tips page on Twitter, I believe Brunson will be your middleweight champion by the end of this year. Brunson is a totally different fighter than the one that lost to Adesanya just under 4 years ago. He was already good, but he has come leaps and bounds greater than what he was. This fight, in fact, is 3 rounds. That makes it a lot easier for Brunson. If he takes it down, Cannonier only has a few chances to hit that KO, and he does have that KO potential. Do not be wrong with that. But I just don't see it being possible when he's on the ground. Brunson is way better at taking people down. Now, Cannonier's takedown defense is apparently good, because anything over 55-60% is decent. He does absorb a lot of punches, as you can see here from the UFC fight metrics. And that is quite impressive for Brunson, given how Adesanya completely pieced him. But I think Brunson's going to look to take it to the mat. He's going to drag it down. He's going to keep on that top position, possibly force Jared Cannonier to give his back. That is why I'm going with a points victory for Brunson. The submission is possible, but I believe Cannonier is better than that to give his back, but it can and possibly could happen. So I'm leaning on the edge of caution here, the side of caution. I'm going with a points only victory for Brunson here. Now moving on to what is probably the guaranteed knockout of the night. Yeah, it's tied to Ivasa versus Derek Lewis. I'll be surprised if it ends out. If it goes beyond the first, I'll be surprised. My only concern with this pick that I'm going with is Derek Lewis does not like to be hit. He prefers to be the aggressor. He's very Greg Hardy in that type. Doesn't like to be hit, likes to do the hitting, but obviously Derek Lewis doesn't hit his women or his wife. He's a sound man. Derek Lewis has the bigger fight card experience, and he has more power ultimately, and I believe that is what it will come down to. The fight experience and the power. Ty in himself is not inexperienced, but in comparison to Derek Lewis, he is inexperienced, with Derek Lewis at least doubling the amount of fights that he's had professionally. And I do expect Lewis to connect and win via a TKO in the very first round. Moving on to the main event of the evening, we have Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker. And as I've said, ever since this fight was announced and knew, Whittaker on that night made a crucial mistake. He knows it, he's admitted it, and it is obvious to anyone that has half a brain that watches mixed martial arts. Whittaker is in a better headspace. He's a better fighter now. He has beaten tougher opponents than Adesanya. And he is a heavy motherfucker. He is cutting a lot of weight to get to 185. I think he'll be about 206. Maybe 204 on fight night, which is tonight. Adesanya will be about 191, something like that. I believe Whittaker will look to stand in the first round, maybe in the second round, and then 3-4-5 will be, I'm going to take you down. I'm not going to lay on you because that's not my style, but I'm going to assert dominance. Ground and pound, look for a submission if it's there. That is why we are going with the Reaper, Bobby Knuckles. Robert Whittaker to be your new UFC middleweight champion by submission or points victory. The only thing that Whittaker needs to do is stay away and outside of Adesanya's reach, because it is fucking ridiculous. He's got long limbs, but that is where he can get the takedown. Because Izzy likes to throw them kicks with him being a kickboxer. I can see that is a way he takes him down, grabs a leg, or like avoids the leg, takes the. I think it's going to happen. I'm very convinced in my pick here for Robert Whittaker. Not just letting this out there. I am a huge Adesanya fan. I think he is an exceptional fighter. He is one of the best fighters currently in the planet. I just feel like Robert Whittaker has his. He's just got his number. Going back, I'm correcting myself here. Going back to my original pick of this year, which was Derek Brunson being the champion. That solely depends on Adesanya being the champion going through to the end of the year. So what I'm trying to say is, I believe Brunson will beat Adesanya. I don't believe he will beat Whittaker. I think if Whittaker wins this, the only way Brunson becomes the champion at the end of the year is if Adesanya gets the belt back. Because they might do like an immediate rematch, I don't know. But I do think Adesanya might move up to 205 if he loses. But I'm not sure. He might just vacate the title and move up anywhere. Bigger fish to fry. So those are my picks. Do not forget to like. Do not forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And watch the live stream, which you can see on twitch.tv/Dan3HitYou. We will be live from about 11 PM tonight, UK time. If I can stay awake, we're going to go out, we're going to get a few monsters, a few Red Balls, and do all of that shenanigans. So that will do us for the day. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all tonight. Take care and look after yourselves.